right, get them deposit slips ready because it's time for us to make a little bit of money with SHYNIN'S bets.
Hey, Ray, I know your club got gambling.
Yo, it was a wild and crazy week in the NFL. Them noon games, bro, they'll give your ass a heart attack in the middle of a day on a Sunday, especially when you just fresh getting off of church and you see what's going on, dog. It was crazy. We'll start with the L's first. I told you to take the Colts. They were 3.5-point favorites going into Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh came with some defense, and Daniel Jones. He might have got exposed for being outside as opposed to being in the comfortable confines of Lucas Oil Stadium. But Pittsburgh came up, got the dub. The Bengals and Bears game, yo, crazy, especially for all the bettors out there, especially the ones who I told to take the Bengals 2.5-point favorites against the Bears. Man, Joe Flacco out there slanging at the age of 40. He had like 450 yards. That was like a career high for him. Crazy. It could have gone either way, man. But I told you to take them little Bengals. And then I told you to take the Patriots as they were 5.5-point favorites against the Falcons. Falcons kept it close, kept it to 1. But let's get to the wins. As I told you to take them Baltimore Ravens. They coming and they humming. Yeah, and they definitely smacked the Dolphins around paws, by the way, as they covered that 7.5-point favorite. And then I told you to take the Broncos, and that was another crazy game, as the Broncos were actually underdogs going into Houston. Yeah, I knew that was money all day, especially with the way Houston been playing. Yeah, the Broncos, that was easy money right there. Week 10, boy, there's some games this week, boy. Some games I'm not going to touch. Like Eagles, Packers, not touching that. Steelers, Chargers, not touching that. Let's see. One that I am going to touch is Rams and 49ers. And I'm taking the 49ers 3.5-point dogs at home. Yeah, Rams fans don't travel, so it's going to be 49er faithful all throughout that stadium. You get another flavor of juice when you at home, man. You do. The crowd gives you another energy. I don't think the 49ers are going to win this game necessarily, but I do think that they'll keep it within 3 for sure, as they are 3.5-point dogs. Take the 49ers. Moving on to the Colts and the Falcons. The Colts are pissed off. They are at home going against a very, very, very mediocre Falcons team and a decent Falcons defense. But I think the Colts are going to get back to form and they'll get the win against Atlanta. They'll win it by at least a touchdown. They're 6.5-point favorites. Take the Colts going against the Falcons. The Jeff George Bowl is what I like to call it. And then you got Giants at Bears. This should be another wild one in the Windy City, as you got Jackson Dart going up against Caleb Williams. I'm rolling with Jackson Dart. They're 3.5-point dogs going into Chicago. I think the Giants can definitely keep it close, if anything, as the Bears defense, look, they allowed all those yards to Cincinnati too. You don't think that they're gonna allow some yards to the Giants? You damn right they are. This could be another high-scoring affair in Chicago coming up this weekend. And then go ahead and take the Jaguars. They're 1.5-point dogs at the Texans. I'm all over that one. Why? Houston is terrible. And Jacksonville, look, they're fighting for a playoff spot right now. And I just feel like Trevor Lawrence and them can get enough done against the Houston Texans and that defense. They're going to be relying on that defense. Plus, C.J. Stroud, he had a concussion last week. His status is in the air. And they're giving Jaguars some points too. Take the Jaguars, 1.5-point dogs going into Houston. And then my final game, the Lions and the Commanders. Take the Lions going into Washington. Jaden Daniels is hurt, and they're not the same team. I'm looking for the Commanders now to have like a top 5 pick in the draft this year, with the Titans and the Saints and maybe the Raiders in there. I don't know, but I don't think the Commanders. Did they win another game this year? I don't know. Definitely questionable without Jaden Daniels. They're definitely losing this week to the Lions. Take Detroit 7.5-point favorites going into Washington. Pit check, yeah, that's me.
Well, the secret is you got to coordinate. Most people don't coordinate. So you got to coordinate.
Let's dive into some of my favorite matchups from Week 9 in the National Football League. Of course, I called it. I told you what the Chiefs and Bills are going to wear. It was a classic AFC, beautiful AFL brother looking game. Y'all know I love the AFL, and the Buffalo Bills are definitely one of the original AFL franchises. They came out looking good with their blue jerseys, white pants. It was important that they wore the blue socks. Thank God they did that. And the Chiefs with our classic white with the road red pants. Looking great. One of my favorite uniform matchups of the year for sure. San Francisco 49ers at the New York Football Giants. The G-Men. Busting out the Phil Simms slash, I guess I should say Lawrence Taylor slash Bill Parcells slash Bill Belichick slash, I could go on and on. But yeah, the 1980s Giants break out those uniforms. They wore them in the 90s too, of course. I like the Giants uniforms from then. They're definitely not better than what they have now currently. Don't get it twisted. Especially with the thing that annoys me the most, that I guess it gives it its character with the Giants, is that they have this dark blue helmet with the royal blue jersey. It don't match. What y'all got two blues on for? Y'all not the Cowboys. The Cowboys can pull it off. If you notice the Cowboys uniforms, they got a dark blue star, but you look at the jersey and the pants, and it's like it's royal blue, it's regular blue. And then the silver on the helmet doesn't match the silver on the pants. They got those sky blue, silvery pants that I love. The Cowboys can pull it off. They do it. The Giants with them 80s uniforms, and it adds character to it because I guess like back in the 80s, you couldn't get the correct color or something. I don't even know. Maybe it's a whole story behind why the Giants do that, but I don't like it. But again, it's the Giants uniforms. It adds to it. I get it. I understand it. I still love that uniform matchup. It was one of my favorites of the weekend. Jacksonville and Las Vegas. It was a lot of black, which I necessarily don't mind. So but in those situations, sometimes like the Raiders could look like they're going against their practice squad because the Jaguars wore white jerseys with the black pants. Regardless, both uniforms look good. It was a good matchup. Seattle at Washington, one of the more talked about uniform matchups of week 9 because of the throwbacks. Yes, it was beautiful. It was looking good. The Seahawks, y'all know how I feel about them. Their current uniforms, I'm not a fan of. So I'm not saying that they should bring back the Jim Zorn, Chris Warren, Dave Craig, Rick Meyer, John Kitna, Joey Galloway uniforms. I'm not, but I am saying they should incorporate those colors. The royal blue with the green, white, and silver. Man, they should take the silver out. They're not gonna do that though, but they should bring those colors back with an updated Seahawks look. Not necessarily the throwbacks. Keep those in the past and keep them how they are. And then Denver at Houston. Look, and this leads me to my next point with Denver and Houston because both of those teams look good, but I want to focus in on Denver and their decision to wear the orange pants. I commend y'all for that. Thank you for not going all white and being boring and dull like how all the other teams in the National Football League would do. So, along with the Broncos, though, got to shout out the Panthers for breaking out the sky blue pants and the Chargers because they brought out their sky blue pants as well with the sky blue socks. Man, it was some well dressed teams. One team that was not well dressed is who the Panthers played, the Green Bay Packers. Oh, immediately put them away, put them in a box with Curly Lambeau stuff and Vince Lombardi stuff and whoever else is whatever. Lock them in the treasure chest and put them away in the archives. Never wear them again. Please.
Come on, man.
You can wear them once. Like the Steelers of last week. These Packers uniforms are exactly like the Steelers from last week. wear them one time, maybe one time every 30 years or something like that, because I don't think the Packers have worn those since 94. Maybe it was a time where Aaron Rodgers wore them. I don't know. But take those, put them away, never wear them again. They were ugly, and the helmet is just, it's silly. I get it though, because you gotta have the helmet on, and you have to shape it like it looks like the leather helmets from back then. But damn it, if the uniforms y'all trying to wear now had leather helmets, maybe you shouldn't be trying to wear those uniforms in 2025. Cool to see for one game, though. I will admit, it's cool to see for one game every 30 years. Okay. Take them shits, put them away, and we'll see them again in 2055. All right, y'all. That's the pod for this week. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you for tapping into Brian's World. And please tap into the rest of the podcast we have at Foolish Club Media. You can rate, subscribe, and review all on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and on YouTube or wherever else podcasts are found too, but especially on YouTube as well. And while you're at YouTube, check out the Brian B. Shining page at B. Shining for everything that I got going on, which is a lot, especially these days, man. All right, y'all. We heading to the bye week. I'm coming with another pod next week. I ain't stopping. This is a freight train, baby. No days off, no weeks off. But our Kansas City Chiefs, they definitely deserve one. And it couldn't come at a better time, as we need that offensive line to get healthy. The Chiefs need to regroup and get themselves together for this playoff push that's about to come, as real football is on the way. You know I love post-November football. Well, Chiefs Kingdom, I will see you next week. Kansas City, please be a blessing. You already know. Chiefs Kingdom, mount up!
Shut up.